My entire life has been pretty much revolved around movies and TV. My entire dialogue with my best friends, we're constantly quoting movie lines to each other. And today, just figured it was a great time to talk about some iconic properties that you've seen in movies and TV shows. What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to your favorite podcast for real estate. I'm Sammy Lubeck.
And I'm Rebecca Pesci. Thanks for joining us this time around. And guess what? We don't have espresso martinis this time.
Oh my God. How are we going to get through this podcast?
I know, natural energy.
How are you guys going to get through this podcast?
Well, I ask myself that question every time.
Okay.
Just kidding. You guys love us. We are coming to you from the Wayfarer Theater in downtown Highland Park, Illinois. Can't you tell?
So we are not in front of a live studio audience, or I guess we could have said we are in front of a studio audience, but they're being silent right now. But you see, we have this massive spotlight on us right now. It's very intimidating.
Oh, only if you haven't done theater before.
I haven't done theater before.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just naturally, energetic in front of the camera, I guess.
No, that's for sure. I think this is where some of my improv skills come into play.
For the next half hour, Rebecca Pesci will be doing improv skills.
We can play some games.
Okay, what are we talking about today?
Today is a fun one. Today, we're kind of tossing aside some of the business side of real estate, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, iconic homes and properties. Thank you for the word. In television and movies.
Love it. I was really excited to do this one. My entire life has been pretty much revolved around movies and TV. My entire dialogue with my best friends, we're constantly quoting movie lines to each other. And today, just figured it was a great time to talk about some iconic properties that you've seen in movies and TV shows. We've done plenty of research, so please forgive us for holding papers during this if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, it really doesn't matter what we're holding, but I digress.
All right. You want to get started? You want me to grab my favorite? I have a favorite one on this list.
Go with it.
Okay. My favorite one on this list, and I think one that all you 90s and aughts guys and gals can appreciate, the aughts, I know I like that word, is the Friends apartment.
Okay.
Where Monica and Rachel and Phoebe, and then it was Monica and Chandler.
So not Joey and Chandler's apartment. You weren't as big a fan of that one.
No,
What did you love about that apartment?
It was rent controlled, first of all. But purple, that beautiful balcony, and let's be honest, they just look like they were having a great time in there. So if you wanted to live in that building now, it's at 90 Bedford Street in New York, for those of you paying attention. And if you remember some of the opening credits where they pan from the corner street signs up to the building, they show you exactly which corner it's at.
Okay.
It's at the corner of Bedford and Grove.
Right on.
It is a rental property, a rental building. So you could rent in there today.
How much?
Well, for the low price, I saw recent rentals for 1 bedrooms around $8,000.
Wow.
4 bedrooms up to $12,000, $13,000, $14,000.
Could you imagine if they had 4 bedrooms? Okay, let's talk Friends here. There's 6 of them there. Were there any times where, well, there were times, I think, when 3 of them lived together. There was a time when Ross was living with Joey and Chandler, but that was in the small apartment across the way.
Right.
Ross was staying with Rachel, at least pretty much every night at their place.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, iconic property that everybody knows and loves for sure.
Right. Well, it's not rent controlled anymore. Sorry, Friends fans. But if you are looking to get your own little piece of Friends history, you too can live in that building.
Yeah, a big one for me is definitely the Ferris Bueller house, where his friend Cameron kicked his dad's Ferrari out of the garage.
Iconic.
He got really frustrated with his dad, loving the Ferrari more than him. It was a beautiful car though. So, I mean, Cam, kind of depressing a little bit, but the car, awesome. But anyways, when you look at the previous listings that we have access to, obviously being Chicago real estate agents, this property actually sold for $1.06 million back in 2014.
That sounds like a steal.
Yeah.
By 2025 market values right now, can you imagine how expensive that house would be now?
I would say 2.5 million.
I would say at least
realistically.
double.
Yeah.
At least double.
Yeah. So that property, it's cool. It was filmed on site. So many of these properties that you see, whether it's an apartment or a house, a lot of them are just on sound stages in Hollywood.
The insides.
Yeah, for sure. So it's cool that, some of these properties we actually were able to get info on and bring to you today.
Well, and one of the great things, speaking of Ferris Bueller, one of the great things about John Hughes, who's the director of that film, is that he made a lot of those movies here locally by us. So there are actually a number of not just properties, but schools and buildings and churches and parks that we drive by every day that were the scene of a lot of movies, which is a little surprising considering this isn't Hollywood.
Yeah, I think in the 80s, we saw a slew of movies in Chicago, going from Blues Brothers to Risky Business to The Breakfast Club.
Uncle Buck.
Vacation. They started in Chicago before they made their trek out to Wally World. I know it all.
Yeah.
I know all of these, so when it comes down to it, we have a lot of history here in Chicago, but we'll get to some properties outside of Chicago as well.
Yeah. Fun fact about Ferris Bueller.
What's that?
You remember when Ferris goes to pick up Sloane from high school? He's pretending to be her dad. I can't remember her last name.
Yeah.
So
Peterson.
Thank you. That
Movie buff.
That building is Glenbrook North High School.
Yep.
I know that because that's my alma mater. And that was actually the steps to our Center for the Performing Arts.
Wow.
So being a theater person, when you came to see a show, that's the steps and the entrance you went into. It was not the main entrance to the school, but that was sort of a little iconic for me because not only was it my school, but it was, entrance and exit for me as a theater. You can say a theater geek. You can say it. It's fine.
I love being on stage right now at this theater, don't you?
I love the spotlight.
Keep it down out there, okay? We're trying to film a podcast.
All the fans are out there just waiting. All right, moving on.
Okay.
There are you did a lot of really great research on here. I have to give credit where credit is due.
God,
Sammy really did the bulk of the research, and I'm just sort of along for the ride and using some of my improv skills here
to just a pretty face.
Yeah, sure. One of my favorite houses, also one of my favorite movies, Father of the Bride. I love that movie. Steve Martin's classic and a legend in that movie. That house in particular is just sort of my style, right? Very classic, beautiful. The landscaping's gorgeous. I'm sure the inside looked nothing like it did in the movie because it's, again, all on a soundstage. But that house in particular is in Pasadena, California, specifically 843 South El Molino Avenue.
Wow.
For anybody who wants to look that up. It sold most recently in 2016 for $1.998 million. So we're looking at almost 10-year-old market data there. It's probably worth a hell of a lot more now, but if you want it,
go get it.
Make an offer.
Do you realize that we are single-handedly possibly causing traffic jams for people that are watching and listening to our podcast, and they're going to go to these addresses to see these houses now?
Look, that's already happening, but I'm sure no one is knocking down the doors of this house for a film from 1991. I mean,
once they hear about it in our podcast, come on.
It's going to be on the maps of the stars that they hand out.
We're worldwide, G.
Yeah, worldwide. But that is one of my all-time favorite houses.
Okay.
I love that one.
On the other end of the spectrum, I was in awe of the Scarface Mansion. When Tony Montana, when all of his enemies pretty much stormed the castle.
I remember that scene.
Put Tony Montana to an untimely death, and that is at 631 Para Grande Lane in Montecito, California.
Bougie up there.
Oh, huge. And that was on the market for a cool 39 mil, but you do not get any of the stuff in the movie. It's not
Again, it's a soundstage.
Yeah, it's a soundstage, but I'm talking about, there was a lot of bad stuff in Tony's house. some guns, some drugs, but
Montecito's beautiful. Let's not mistake Montecito for like a mafia-ridden community. Oprah has a house
don't get me
out
wrong,
there.
gorgeous.
Ellen DeGeneres, until recently, when she hightailed it for the UK, had a place there. Pretty sure that's where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are spending their days right now. So,
did they do a cameo in Scarface?
no,
Okay.
no.
What about Ellen DeGeneres?
I don't even think they were alive then.
Oprah? Did anybody? Did any of you do a cameo in Scarface?
No.
Okay.
No, Montecito. But again, let's go to another end of the spectrum.
Go for
a
it.
house I actually have been inside of, the Home Alone house.
Okay.
That one's, again, locally here. I'm picking all the local ones. Oh, I guess
That's
not.
fine.
Friends and Father of the Bride, definitely not local. I take that back.
I forgive you.
I take that back. The Home Alone house is in Winnetka, not just a stone's throw from us here in Highland Park. That one on Lincoln Avenue, 671 Lincoln. I've been down that road a million times. Right there on the corner is the Winnetka Community House. I spent a bulk of my childhood there. But that house, again, filmed on the outside. The inside was on a soundstage. Really doesn't look or didn't look anything like it did in the movie. But the outside is as if, you're in that van right out front waiting to pile in to go to the airport with that annoying kid where he's like, does this have 4-wheel drive? Does this have air conditioning? Remember the neighbor kid? That's why they miscounted.
Oh.
Because she went back and counted the heads.
You're not talking about Kieran Culkin, who became...
Oh, one of my
Succession.
favorite shows.
Yes.
Awesome. Wait, did you see him in the most recent movie A Real
I
Pain?
didn't see it yet.
I watched it on the plane last week. It's really good.
I heard he played basically the same character, just in a different role.
No.
Seriously?
I couldn't disagree more.
Wow, she saw it. I didn't.
And he was great in it. I think he won an Academy Award
Best
for it.
supporting actor.
Yeah. He was fantastic in it, and not at all like his Succession character.
Okay.
They're kind of assholes in different ways.
You just swore.
It's private. I don't have
It's okay.
the FCC.
That's
and
okay.
I'm a sailor, if you know me in real
Oh
life.
my God. And she hasn't even had an espresso martini yet.
No. Okay.
She will.
And it's Monday.
Okay.
Here's a fun fact about the Home Alone house.
Bring it.
That actually did recently sell.
Yes, it did.
Earlier this year. In fact, 2025. Sold for $5.5 million.
It comes with Kevin.
Does not come with Kevin.
Kevin runs around. When you do the final walkthrough for the house, Kevin's there running around.
No,
No?
he's not.
Okay. I'm going to do
I don't
one.
think he was ever at that house.
Speaking of kids running around, here's a story of a man named Brady, and I'm done singing forever. The Brady Bunch house. Okay. Yes, I know we're dating ourselves a little bit, but who cares? It's an iconic show.
Sure is.
That is located at 11222 Dillon Street in Studio City, California. Another Cali house.
Very Valley.
Oh, it was listed for, they were trying to get $5.5 million for it, just like the Home Alone house. But I'm trying to think of like that house. The only thing I remember other than Marcia getting hit in the nose with the football is the staircase in the living room where all the kids would magically come down to dinner at the exact same time. It was like they were trained. Alice must have been a great chef, I guess.
But the kids all shared bedrooms.
Yeah, they did.
So a 3-bedroom house. And again, that's on a soundstage.
Okay, you have 3 kids.
I do.
Have they ever like come down to dinner within the exact same like minute?
No, not even when I call them.
That's 3 kids. This is 6.
Right.
And they were like, I guess
in
they
a
were
parade.
robots. They were robots coming down to eat Alice's cooking. I don't know. But yeah, they were trying to get $5.5 million. I guess it sold a couple of years back for $3.2 million. So nice little discount and maybe a little mistake by the listing agent overpricing it a little.
Can I say something potentially controversial?
Go with it.
I don't even think it's a good looking house.
No.
Like I wouldn't drive down the street and be like, God, that's a gorgeous house. Not like the Father of the Bride house, where I think it's just so beautiful in the curb appeal. You drive by this Brady Bunch house, you're like, ooh, really?
Yeah, the other thing that I remember from the house was the swing set that Bobby tried to hang from to get taller.
Right. In the tiniest of backyards.
Yes.
Which is very LA. Yeah. So that could be true. Again, on a soundstage. It like never rained in that backyard. It was never muddy.
I'm trying to think, like, not many movies and TV shows feature rain. Snow, yes.
Unless
rain,
it's for dramatic effect, but a sitcom is not going to have rain.
True.
Like ever.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Another one of my favorite shows. I would be remiss, going back to the New York theme, is Carrie Bradshaw's apartment in Sex and the City. I mean, she lived in a closet, essentially, but most New Yorkers do. That is sort of your quintessential New York brownstone building, 66 Perry Street in New York, for those of you who want to look these fast figures up real quick.
Another traffic jam.
No. That's probably already on a New York City tour. Sex and the City was so iconic, and then they came back with the reboot of it, so it kind of brought
just like that.
Wow.
I watch it.
Oh, wow. Impressed.
I have to bond with the ladies. Come on.
And just like that.
Yeah. Do you like that show, by the
No,
way?
I don't. And I'm like a classic Sex and the City original characters when it was kind of young and fun. I'm not into this new generation of it.
R.I.P. Big.
No, Big.
Yeah, and that whole first season was just like depressing naturally whenever a major character
I watched the first episode of that just for the whole Big thing.
Yeah.
And I probably watched maybe one or two more, and I'm like, eh.
And Samantha not being on it.
We used to have watch parties when it was originally on Sunday nights. We'd get together, a bunch of girls, and we'd just...
But you didn't drink espresso martinis then?
No, not then. I was drinking...
Cosmos with the girls?
I didn't, no, that was probably still even a little bougie for me. I don't want to date myself, but we were having those watch parties in college.
Okay.
So...
Beer.
Wine. We were probably shitty.
Pabst Blue
probably
Ribbon?
drinking wine.
Pabst Blue Ribbon?
No, PBR. No, we didn't keep that in the fridge at a girl's house.
I'm just saying.
That was probably at a boy's house.
Okay.
We were a little classier than that, and we got inexpensive wine.
Class.
That's it.
Okay.
That was Carrie Bradshaw. Who didn't want to be her?
Well, she had that iconic apartment, but then the one Big bought for her, and that was the crazy closet.
That was the crazy closet. I actually don't have any information on where that actually was. I think the bulk of that was on a soundstage.
I agree.
They didn't feature the outside of that the way they did. So much of Sex and the City, New York City was the backdrop, was the landscape and the set for it.
It was the fifth main character.
Yeah, it really was. And I don't think in the reboot that's really the same.
No. Okay. All right. Well, going back to my mob movie theme.
Yikes.
The Godfather. I mean, that is just an iconic, that's the name of our episode. So, of course, it goes along with that estate. But the Godfather estate in Beverly Hills, California.
Of course.
Wow. It actually served as a honeymoon retreat for John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it sold in an auction nearly 4 years ago for the low price.
Drum roll?
$63.1 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
well, it is Beverly Hills.
I mean, you think of the history with that. Obviously, looking back to the movie, you immediately think of, all the cars that are guarding the gate, making sure none of their enemies got in. But a lot of those shots in the movie were obviously on soundstage and filmed in smaller apartments like Sonny's apartment. They're all at the dinner table. Obviously the wedding scene is in another location in California, but this property, $63 million, and, to own it and be like, yeah, The Godfather was filmed here. I mean, that's pretty badass.
I don't know the kind of people who buy those properties. Like, who buys the house that The Godfather was filmed at? Not in, but at.
Well, think of it this way. Here in Chicago, I don't know if we've talked about the fact that
I was thinking that.
The Michael Jordan estate.
I'm surprised that's not on your list.
Well, that wasn't iconic from movies and TV shows.
All right, that's
just
fair.
Iconic.
That's fair.
We can talk about, I think we should talk about it now. So they were trying to sell that property. When it came on the market, it was for $29 million.
Well, back up for a second. It's here in Highland Park.
Yes.
For those of you who he didn't live in Chicago.
Correct.
He had a house here in Highland Park. Private little dead end street and acres of land.
Yes.
And custom built the house because he's a tall man. So everything is tall.
It was more Yes, there was more customization going on just for the fact that he was tall.
Yeah. Counter height.
Bulls, Air Jordan logo on a basketball court.
The cigar room.
Oh my God. And here is really opening up the vaults. Okay.
So I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid. This is kind of crazy, but true. When I got out of college, I was not the real estate mogul that you see before you today. Yes, I was a teacher, okay, for 6 years. And when I was teaching, I wasn't making a lot of money. So you know what I did on the side? I delivered pizzas, okay?
Okay.
And I was delivering for Domino's in Highland Park. And one day I was at Domino's, and we're going to be talking about this for the next 15 minutes.
Oh, God. Short version.
Okay. So one day I was in Domino's, and I saw the address of Michael Jordan's house. And I delivered a pizza to Michael Jordan's house.
Who answered the door?
Juanita.
Okay.
The pizza.
His wife. Then wife.
Then wife. The pizza was $13.60. She handed me a $2 off coupon. True story.
Okay.
And a $20 bill and said, keep the change.
Oh.
And
nice, Juanita.
over the next couple of years, I delivered pizzas to Michael Jordan's house 14 times, and he never came to the door. It was
course not.
Juanita, kids, aunt, grandma, security. Never Michael.
Because he probably was never there. Juanita and the kids were there. He wasn't there to answer the door for you. He is on the road being Michael Jordan.
He basically probably asked him, is that guy Sammy again?
No, he's filming Space Jam. He's doing Nike commercials.
Okay.
He's not into, and maybe, I don't know, playing basketball.
That's true. But back to the house.
Okay, back to the house.
So they were trying to sell it for $29 million.
This is the Michael Jordan house again.
This is the Michael Jordan house again. Yeah. This house was not on Lake Michigan where a lot more, the homes command a lot more money. Okay.
Yes.
This was a little bit more inland. Okay. So the house, realistically, if Michael Jordan hadn't lived there, it was probably like a $5 million house.
I'd agree with that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it recently sold for right around $10 million. And the person that bought it, of course, it came into play that the only reason he spent that much money was because it was related to Michael Jordan.
He's not even intending to live there.
Correct. He's kind of using it as almost like an Airbnb, trying to get different investors to do some short-term rentals.
It's like $230,000 a month.
No thanks.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, everything, if you knew anything about that Michael Jordan house, every time they had a price adjustment, the numbers in the price always added up to 23.
Yep.
So funny, or not so funny, that they're trying to rent it for $230,000 a month.
Oh my God.
I know, mind-boggling.
Numerology, crazy.
And connecting the dots left and right here.
So if you some of these properties that we're rattling off, the fact that they sold for as much money as they did, you have to think that the fame factor played a huge part in commanding a lot more money for these properties.
Yeah, but only so much, right? Especially in both in the case of Michael Jordan and in the case of the Brady Bunch, right? Like that cachet or that notoriety only gets you so far. People still have to pay for a property and the functionality and live in it. And unless you're super crazy and you don't care about money and you're like a super huge Michael Jordan fan or Brady Bunch fan, I guess, you're not really probably willing to overpay that much.
I would say the Home Alone house, that was market value.
Well, it was a beautiful home in a fantastic East North Shore location.
Yes.
So that had all the things going for it, which the Brady Bunch house, Studio City, does not. And as much as I love Highland Park, right, and as much as Highland Park can command some hefty prices, the location of Michael Jordan's house was far from where it can command big prices like that. So I digress. Okay, but what about another one of my favorites?
Yeah, go with it.
Do you watch Only Murders in the Building?
Nope.
You should watch.
I watch pretty much everything.
Sex in the City.
I watch more than Sex in the City. Okay. But I do watch a ton of shows, and I'm shocked that I haven't, because I love Steve Martin Short, and like Three Amigos and stuff. And
what I like is that each season is its own story. It doesn't like continue to the next one. It starts sort of a new murder in the building.
Okay.
But that, again, New York City building, they call it the Arconia in the movie or in the show. It's actually called the Belnord, 225 West 86th Street in New York City. That is a real building. And it has units valued at over $4 million a piece.
I would imagine the values would be going down the more murders that were taking place in the building.
You mean on the soundstage, meant to look like the building?
It's got to have a reputation at this point. I mean, how many seasons have there been?
4, maybe?
And there are 4 murders in a building?
Yeah, but
that can't help a listing agent out when people show up for an open house and be like, I heard a rumor that there were a few murders in the building.
Yeah, but it's a sitcom. Not a sitcom. It's funny. It's not like a drama, like a CSI or a Law and Order. I mean, it's funny and is a mystery, but it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek mystery.
I'm just looking at it from a real estate point of view.
I understand, but I don't think it's going to affect the value. If anything, I think it will bring it up because now it's the building that was in Only Murders in the Building.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Now you should watch it.
I probably will.
You probably won't.
I probably will. You don't think I will?
I don't know.
Okay, one more mob house.
Oh my God. And then can we end your mob obsession?
Well, you just talked about murder, so whatever. Tony Soprano's house. I mean, how many times have we seen Tony in his robe stumble down and pick up the paper at the end of the driveway and meet with Christopher in the basement? I mean, come on. It's just that house everybody knows. That is at 14 Aspen Drive in North Caldwell, New Jersey. 6,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 6 bath. And in 2019, they tried to sell the house for a pretty reasonable price of $3.4 million.
Well, I don't know anything about New Jersey real estate, but just the size alone.
Yeah, it's a huge house, but that, again, I think that's going to be one of those properties that having the cachet of the show, ironically, they were not able to sell it at that price, and there were no records of it being sold. Let's see here. I don't think, it didn't sell. So
maybe they're just kicking tires, tried to see what price they could get for Tony Soprano's house, and when they couldn't get it, changed their minds.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Oh, well.
Happens all the time. Another one of my favorites, you probably don't watch this show at all.
What's that?
It's Big Little Lies.
I actually did watch that.
You did?
Yeah. Shocker.
That was a great
It was a really good show. I was surprised they did a second season.
I'm surprised they haven't done a third or they haven't done any more. Great cast.
Yeah.
Beautiful backdrop.
Well, it was probably expensive as hell to get that cast for another season.
Probably. I mean, you're talking about Central California.
Yeah.
But along the coast, absolutely stunning.
Yep.
If you've ever made that drive from San Diego or Los Angeles up to San Francisco, I mean, it's an unbelievable drive. And I'm a road trip kind of girl, so I appreciate that kind of thing. But even if you're not, you should do it once in your life.
Okay.
Take 2 weeks of your summer, rent a fun car, and just wind your way up the coast.
What's a fun car in your imagination?
Well, I'm not a convertible person, if that's what you're thinking a fun California car would be, which if you like it.
That's why I'm asking.
If you like convertibles, that's a great car for California.
Okay.
I don't know. I like something that's fun to drive. I like probably a German car of some kind. It's a lot of kind of twisty, windy coastal road there. I like something that can, drive like it's on rails, kind of gripping the.
I'm just letting you go.
Yeah. I mean, I like driving and I like cars. But that's not really the point of this. That's not the point of this. The whole point of this,
cars.
Celeste has a beach house there.
Okay.
She's one of the main characters in there. Now, this is going back. I couldn't believe that this was filmed in 2017 to 2019. I mean, it feels like almost just yesterday. It was almost 10 years ago that launched.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of wild. Bring it back. That is in Carmel Highlands in California, Central California, 40 Yankee Point Drive to be exact. So many beautiful properties up there. We could probably keep going if we did more research. But that house on the water, so buku bucks, and it was listed, I don't have a record of it being sold, but it was listed for $29.6 million for a beach house.
That's about what Michael Jordan's house was originally listed for, and that probably, based on the location, commanded that price a lot more than
and not
Michael's
nearly
house.
the same size,
right?
Or the same acreage,
right?
But look, you can pay for a waterfront home on the coast right now for as many dollars as you can scrounge together, but it's probably just going to fall into the ocean at some point. So maybe Michael Jordan was onto something. He built inland.
And then he built in Florida with a golf course. I mean, he's got nothing but money.
Yeah.
All right. So we came across some other properties that, we weren't able to find like sales prices or even addresses on some of them. But there's also some amazing properties that once I mention, hopefully you'll smile. But well, this one may not make you smile, but it was the house behind the Bates Motel in Psycho, Norman Bates' house.
Oh, you're really dating yourself now. Classic movie.
It is okay.
Classic.
If the word shower scene mean anything to you with Psycho, with the stabbing and everything,
that kind of a shower scene.
Get your head out of the gutter, Missy.
You started it.
God, she talks about Sex in the City, and now she's thinking about all this stuff. Come on, get your head out of the gutter. Yeah, Norman Bates with his mother, in the basement. Oh my God, that is
classic.
I have no interest in going to visit that. Mom's probably still in the basement.
And The Shining, more Hitchcock.
Oh my God, that one that's actually was filmed at Timberline Lodge in Mount Hood, Oregon. Then you got like the Yellowstone, the Dudden Ranch, which is filmed at Chief Joseph Ranch in Darby, Montana.
Oh, wait, but you can't skip over Regina George's mansion from Mean Girls.
I was getting to that through Montana going up to Canada.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, buried the lead there. That mansion is in Toronto, Canada, just over the border. It's a huge house. It is 20,000 square feet. Huge. That film, 2004, so 20 years ago now. In 2015.
And yes, I did see it.
I believe that all day long.
I remember Regina George got the primary bedroom from her mom because her mom just loved her so much.
Well, she's a cool mom. She's not like the other moms.
Amy Poehler.
She's a cool mom.
She's a cool mom.
Oh, such a great movie.
Okay.
That house sold 10 years ago for $14.8 million, which actually for 20,000 square feet, I don't think it's a bad price. I don't know anything about Toronto real estate, but
maybe sell some homes now and go for it. And you can take over the primary bedroom from Regina George.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. A couple other ones that are very similar. Wayne Manor from Batman and Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters from the X-Men series. I wonder if they were filmed at the exact same mansion because thinking about it, they look exactly alike. But both of those would cost a few bucks.
Yeah, I don't have any info on that either.
Okay. Wait, you asked me if I've seen these shows. How many have you seen some of the Batman movies?
Yes.
Okay.
I like the Batman films.
The Christian Bale ones?
Well, I think I've seen all of them.
Okay.
I'm certain I haven't seen them in the right order.
Okay.
So don't quiz me on Batman trivia. But what is one of the superhero movies that I do like. I have not seen any of the X-Men series.
That's okay.
That doesn't really, I don't know.
That's okay. Another really cool ass house is obviously Tony Stark's house from the Avengers. And the Iron Man movies that did not get any. I don't know if it was a real house. There was a house that was in San Diego that was built in basically in the shape and the model of that sold for about 20-30 million. That was featured, I think, on $1 Million Listing LA. But yeah, so many iconic properties. We've given you a few here.
Yeah, we could just keep going. There's
really could.
A lot of film and TV that we've watched. And I don't know, occupational hazard. We're always looking at where the houses are. I'm constantly looking at where did they film this? Because I want to know, I don't know, I want to know where they are, number one. But number two, then I jump on a real estate website and I start looking at houses nearby or how much that one was worth. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it really, as real estate agents, obviously we look at these shows and movies through that lens. And I'm constantly thinking, I wonder how much they paid for that house. And it's just, it's pretty cool. It ties, stuff we love, like movies and TV shows, to what we're really passionate about with our careers and everything. So yeah, it's a cool connection. So we were really excited to film this episode and podcast for you guys. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And,
try to keep it light this time. Take a little break from the business end of real estate for you and for us, because, we like to have a little fun too. So
without a doubt.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you're watching us on YouTube. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Okay, I think we're in action.
Okay, bright light.
No espresso martinis this time.
No martini, but a very bright spotlight.
Let's see if that will fuel us in the same way.
Sure. Ready?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Okay,
Cheers.
let's go.
You know what? Now is a really good thing to do.
What's that?
Time to do.
What?
Check to see if it's recording.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go.
Go. Record.
Yeah.
Let's go for real estate. Entertain me. Let's go.
Shut up.